Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rashid Gaissin. I'm an independent director of AFSA. As you know, AFSA is a regulator here at AFC. Welcome to our session, which is to regional development and regional supervision of financial activities. And by the region, we mean Central Asia and Caucasus. And I think we have excellent, very distinguished representatives from all the major countries, major economies in the region, in both Caucasus and Central Asia. Today, I think in this very difficult geopolitical climate, regional cooperation is far more important than it was before. Globalization is a new thing. We have to live and work with our neighbors. We cannot choose them. We have to work and do business, do profitable business with those who are next to us. And I think that's something we are learning in a hard way, because I just want to ask, out of curiosity, how many of you were on business, not leisure, to Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Uzbekistan? On business? 5, 6, okay. 7. Great. Well, I hope next year, if I ask the same question, it will be at least half of the audience. I hope. And that's why we have these kind of sessions where we want to show the opportunities, not just in Kazakhstan, not just AIFC, but the wider, bigger region where we can cooperate and work together. So without any further introductions, I have 4 speakers today who are all very distinguished regulators and work with different authorities across the region. So one of them is from Georgia, Ekaterine Mikabadze, who is the first deputy governor of the National Bank of Georgia. Then from my left, we have Revzhon Faziev, who is a deputy director of the national agency, which is basically a ministry of perspective projects of the Republic of Uzbekistan. And then we have, sorry, just 2 last-minute additions. Shahin Mahmoudzadeh, who is also with us from Azerbaijan, and he is executive director of the Central Bank of Azerbaijan. And then, last but not least, we have Nicholas Gagua, who is the managing director on policy of AFSA. Nico is originally from Georgia, as you can guess, but he lives now and works here in the heart of Eurasia. So thank you very much to all our speakers, especially those who traveled all the way to Astana. I know it's sometimes inconvenient, sometimes it takes a lot of your time, working time, your private, personal time. Thank you very much for coming. And without any further ado, I would like to ask first question all our panelists to tell us a little bit more about the regulation. And we all know that financial services all across the region, both Caucasus and Central Asia, they are dominated by banks. But that's not the topic of today's discussion. We want to go beyond the banks. We want to see other things like funds, digital assets, crypto. Hopefully that is the future, not just traditional banks, conservative, etc. So that's probably 3-5 minutes each of you, and then we'll have specific country questions, if you don't mind. Ekaterine, over to you.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank the organizers, our deep appreciation for organizing such a great event. It's our pleasure to come to be the part of this event. The question itself comes from the importance of capital markets for our countries. I want to be very innovative, telling that capital markets are diversified sources for financing businesses. This is the opportunity for investors. And that's why our very top priority became to develop capital markets. I will later explain in details all the regulatory legislative changes that we made to align our legal framework with the best standards, best international standards. But our policy was exactly, our reform agenda was exactly to bring our financial market regulating, supervising legal framework to the aligned with best international practice. That's why we currently see, I would say, the impressive developments in our capital market. Just a few figures. Our securities market increased during the last 5 years 40 times, from 56 million GEL to 2.1 billion GEL, which is quite significant increase. Our investment funds, which is very new for our market, asset under management increased from 0 to 200 million, which is very small number, but for couple of years it makes sense. So, and we are trying to take into account our specificities of our market as well when we're trying to align our legal framework to the international standards. But the best way to increase our regional cooperation is to have uniform, unique standards and legal frameworks, regulatory frameworks to operate with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ekaterine. I think we will have some Georgia-specific questions later on. So thank you very much for your overview. And we move to Uzbekistan. Arif John, over to you, please.
First of all, allow me to express the sincere gratitude to organizers in order to have an opportunity to participate in this event. So regarding the issues of regional cooperation within the financial markets, Uzbekistan has the strategical importance, and we have the joint efforts uniform action plan, which established the comprehensive cooperation in capital market, which became the driver of further growth. And National Agency of Perspective Agency, together with the AFSA, we've done a lot. Last year, the first deputy director of the agency, general director of the AFSA on regulation of finance services, signed the joint action plan, which refers to having specific regimes ready for the probation of the financial decisions, crypto assets, and so on, for easing access to asset management and broker services with the joint design of the useful tools, especially issuance of the Sukuk bonds. On the basement of, within the framework of AIX, so we've done a lot within the joint projects and educatory events. That is the key fundament for our improvement of financial systems. Republican stock market of Tashkent City plays a lot. We have done the huge work within the last 5 years. The memorandum we have gave the new impetus for further development of the market. That refers to the new opportunities for business representatives and investors. Business Tashkent acquired the award, which reflects the real results of our cooperation. Apart from this, October last year, we signed a memorandum with Astana International Exchange, dedicated on the development of green tools development, including the green bonds. We have strong regional cooperation, and so we have common understanding between the central stock market and Kyrgyz stock market. This allows also to have further cooperation, implement joint initiatives beyond each document. We refer to the huge work done by our experts, and it affects a lot on international cooperation within the depository services. Here we refer to the different work with association of depositarians and national agencies. We also improve the cooperation with depositarium of Korea, Turkey, Tajikistan. With the special regime, the sandbox allowed us to improve the cooperation with Bank of Georgia, and we also have the negotiations with OTP Bank. These steps improves the deepening of the cross-border cooperation, and Uzbekistan proves that that is the practical tool of development. Throughout the integration of the capital markets and unification of the existing environments, we provide all the necessary conditions to have the trustful cooperation with our economies. We actively promote joint initiatives dedicated for harmonization of standards. We also consider the cooperation not as the source of competition, but the tool of improving cooperation of the region. Thank you so much.
Region. Shaheen, over to you to Azerbaijan, please.
Thank you. Can you repeat please question? I didn't catch.
I think the banks, they are basically dominating the economies all across Central Asia and Caucasus, but we are not talking about regulating the banking activities. How about other activities, financial, like funds, cryptocurrency, digital assets? What is going on with that in Azerbaijan? Please.
Okay. Thank you very much. You are right. It's like in Azerbaijan, around 95% of the financial system is consists of the banks. And in 2023, as a Central Bank of Azerbaijan, we developed a new roadmap. And the name of the roadmap even says what we want to do. It's the financial development strategy for the central bank. And it's not only covering the banks, but also the capital markets, the fund management, the cryptocurrencies. Right now we are working on the regulation, how to regulate the digital currencies, let's say. And also the insurance is one of the main major areas of us as we are mega regulator. To be honest, in some cases we don't call us as mega regulator, we call us as a mega supporter. Because we think that our job is not just to regulate the system, it's to support the shareholders, to support the society and the main stakeholders, so that our best service is the best regulation. What we mean the best regulation? It's not just copying and paste the global standards. It's about the harmonizing it with the local realities and not be ahead of the financial market. I mean, we have the four main principles when we are doing the new regulation. First, don't invent the wheel. So if there is something working there, probably we should take some elements, at least main elements of this, and try to implement locally. The second, the regulation should not be on the paper. So if the market is not ready for anything, it means you should also prepare market for this. I mean, we are not the Fed or we are not the ECB that we should catch behind the market. I think in our region, the regulator's role is to prepare the market to the global realities, so that increasing the human capacity, the infrastructural capacity of the financial sector is also must for us. The third one is the increasing the transparency, the market discipline, which is crucial for in our every regulation. So it's not only about us and financial players, but also the society is part of this. That's why in our every regulation almost we are trying to do the public opinions about regulations, and also the financial literacy channel is part of this. In every change, we are also trying to publish it in everywhere, to talk with the people through the different channels. It's the social media channels, the physical channels, through the other government organizations which can touch the citizens. So to explain what they can expect and how they can benefit from the new amendments. So this is the overall what's happening in Azerbaijan right now. Also, some pillars we are working on to develop, like rating agencies. It's part of also the market discipline, so increasing the trust, which is the financial sector depends on it's part of also the trust system. So the rating agencies we are working right now, and we are talking also with the biggest international players to come to Baku and to open the rating agencies so that they can benefit commercially and we can benefit while decreasing the information asymmetry cost. So I hope in like next 10 years we will have sound and resilient non-banking financial system as well. Of course, there is no magic trick that in one day you can change everything. It takes time and it takes collaboration among not only regulators but other government agencies and the whole society as well. Thank you very much. Sorry, I think I didn't say greet the public. It's really a pleasure to be here in front of you, and I would like to thank the organizers for this astonishing event. Thank you very much.
Shahin, thank you very much. So we now move to Kazakhstan, to AFSA.
Yeah.
Nico, over to you, but probably we can keep it to 5 minutes only, right? Just overview, yeah?
Yeah, probably I will be the shortest because I think that there were a lot of things mentioned already about AFSA, about recent developments. What I can say is that, I mean, in your question, we are probably in an opposite situation because the banking sector is here, but this is small one in AFSA. AFSA is more about capital markets, investment funds, digital assets, innovation financing, crowdfunding, and this sector is quite much developing in this ecosystem. But what I can say is that as we develop further, the challenges are more pressing, and I think that we will have a good discussion today about regional cooperation, because I mean there are a lot of challenges that can be overcome with this regional cooperation. You all know that in Kazakhstan we have two jurisdictions at the mainland and here at AFC. AFC is more focused on international and regional coverage. That's our main mandate, and therefore I think that the things that we are promoting, the regional cooperation, the regional coverage, this is that could be an instrument to overcome the challenges that is related to the non-banking financial market that is here in Kazakhstan and in the region.
Thank you, Nico. Thank you very much. I think it's the first anniversary of Nico's work in AFC, so well done. I think you obviously passed all these kind of first most difficult year, I guess, and survived quite a harsh winter here as well, right? So congratulations. So we go back now to Georgia, if you don't mind, and we have quite a specific, I would say, question, and I think Ekaterine mentioned that they have quite few developments with the funds industry, and I just wonder what kind of funds we talk about here, because here at AFC we also look into how to develop this industry. We managed, and I think there are certain people in the audience, the colleagues from AmiCorp, which is the only global fund administrator. So I hope we'll have more. We need competition, right? But for now, I think it's just the only one, I guess, all across the region, which can actually handle not just AFC funds, but many, many other interesting jurisdictions across the world. So I wonder about your experience. Where are you now with funds? What do you do? How you promote them? How you try to regulate them? And so on and so forth.
Thank you for your question. I will start with legislative changes that were made in 2020, actually. These changes were, as I said already, the part of overarching strategy development of capital market. This very large-scale reform, which was kind of introduced, started in 2018, I would say, to develop capital market, which covered all the legislative regulatory changes in the country. The first step in this direction was adoption of the investment funds law, which was the part of EU association agreement, and we were directed by that agreement as well. The aim of those changes were to be aligned with several directives, EU directives, which is UCITS directive and AIFD, AFM directive. After quite long time of hard work, we came up with the law, which was assessed by the European Commission, and it recognized the law as fully in line with the European law. This law also governs the brokerage firms, brokerage companies, and asset managers. So it's kind of very complex piece of legislation that's triggered our capital market. And it also led us to apply for the membership of IOSCO. We became an ordinary member of IOSCO in 2021, right after the adoption of the law. And you know that to be the member of IOSCO, it means that you should commit to ensure the alignment with the objectives and all the principles of IOSCO, starting from transparency to rules of market abuse. The view of IOSCO and of course the EU as well, it was that our legislation is fully in line with the best international practices. This was the first phase of our very comprehensive reform agenda. After that, we didn't stop, of course, and in 2023 we adopted several laws, also aimed to deepen our capital market. This was the law of dematerialized securities holdings, the law on securitization, and the law on covered bonds. So this was the second phase of our legislative reform. This I want to emphasize that this harmonization of regulation, supervision is very important for regional. We're talking about regional cooperation, and having the common set of regulations, common set of supervisory approaches, of course, in my view, leads to increased financial services across the borders, and of course that benefits all the parties involved. Let me also share, a colleague mentioned situation about digital assets, and we of course realize that this is a segment which evolves quite rapidly and constantly. That's why we took gradual approach to regulate virtual asset segment sector in Georgia. We started from licensing of virtual asset service providers in 2022. And we put just fit and proper requirements for applicant companies, for shareholders and management. And after that, we just provide AML supervision in line with the FATF standards. But at this stage, as the sector is evolving, we also consider to explore the possibility to regulate and manage and supervise virtual asset sector in Georgia. We are now in the process how we can come up with prudential requirements for this sector of the financial market. To sum up, as I said, the common, widely used and very the legal framework based on best international practices are the way how we can kind of open borders and make regional cooperation more efficient.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Talking more about regional cooperation, I think most of the audience probably heard about the plans, and I think they've been announced for Uzbekistan, that Uzbekistan will create its own financial center. And I wonder, because I was just looking at the title of your agency, which is obviously not that common, Perspective Projects. Perspective Projects, this financial center, is it part of it, or it's something else, or what is it? Could you just elaborate on that? All right, John, thank you.
If you allow me, I will say more on the development of the fund industry in Uzbekistan, the investment fund industry development in Uzbekistan on the stage of active development. And in country, we designed the latest regulatory framework on investor protection. We do see active involvement of the market participants, for instance, establishment of the National Investment Fund, which is under management of Franklin Templeton, who own 18 major stocks of public companies. We prepare IPO for international stock markets. From our perspective, that is an essential step forward. And regarding cooperation with Kazakhstan, the affordable access to investor database of Kazakhstan within the cooperation will become the key benefit for our industry. We will be able to enlarge the capture of investors and promote international cooperation. That is the key potential we do see in this. From my perspective, if we will open the access of Uzbekistani funds to Kazakhstani investors, that will become one of the key perspective direction of further cooperation, and will be in line with best international practices and requirements.
Don't mind, we move now to Azerbaijan, and I think Azerbaijan is in a unique position in terms of so-called cooperation, coordination of Chinese Belt and Road Initiative on the one hand, and Middle Corridor, which we're talking about in Kazakhstan and elsewhere in the region. And if we look at all countries, both Caucasus and Central Asia individually, all of them with no exceptions, they are relatively small economies. But together we talk about the region of more than 100 million people and quite significant other resources together, including natural resources, of course, including financial services, etc. So I think, Rashid, the question for you is like, how do you think we can cooperate better to coordinate and regulate all these activities for the prosperity of all our countries in the region?
Thank you very much. If we go one step back, like why we need this coordination and regulation to attract investors, probably where the investor comes, if you are the big market, or you have the direct channel to the big markets. None of us has the ocean border. So, and as you said, each of us is a small country. So it means the for small market, they cannot sell their goods. No? So, but together we are 100 million. So from the all economic theories like neoclassicals, etc., we know that for economic prosperity, we need two things, the labor productivity and the capital accumulation. So together we are 100 million, and the median age today, like before this panel, I checked the median age of this region is under 30, which means we have the huge potential for the labor force, which the Western countries, most of them don't have. Most of the regions don't have. And the education level is not that bad, I guess. At least everyone looks really like educated, and the literacy levels show that the region is not behind the global standards. So the second one, we need capital accumulation. So and financial markets, the capital market is one of these channels. How we can cooperate and how we can attract investors. So if we divide it to the three steps, so what we need, the first step is, my colleague said, harmonizing the standards. So your regulations should be in place. And the regulations should not contrast to each other, should be at least some kind of harmonized, or at least interoperability should be in place. For the standards. Of course, it's not be unique standards. It should be somehow directed from the global best practices, like my colleague said, EU standards, etc. Last year, we started one project with UNDP and European Union International Platform for Sustainable Finance, also Sustainable Banking and Finance Network. So it's more than 100 economies involved there, countries involved there, and we are trying to make the one framework for green taxonomies in order to attract these green investments. And in this year, COP30 in Brazil, we are going to announce the steps that had been taken already and what we are going to do. So it's one example of this. In EU in 2015, the capital markets to GDP was well behind the Japan and US, and they created the new roadmap called like Capital Markets Union roadmap, which includes the single passport for the financial institutions, some shared platforms, and if I'm not wrong, it's called like Target 2 system. Maybe someone has know the exact name, which decreased the post-trade cost around 40%. So it is the achievement, and why they do this, because they see this EU as a one big market, and they want to compete with Japan and US. The same can happen in our region as well. We can harmonize our standards. Okay, the regulation is the first part. It should be in place. The second part, if you talk about the capital markets, the infrastructure is a must. And this infrastructure cost, there is like high barrier to entry. The economy of scale should be in place. So each of us, if you do this huge fixed cost, it means we will be less efficient comparing to the big markets. But if somehow we can do some shared services, it can be still trade services, settlement services, or even the cross-border KYCs. This kind of services probably can reduce cost and can be better power gun for us in the negotiations with the investors. And it is still not the wheel that we want to invent in ASEAN, in South Asian, if I'm not wrong, the Malaysia, Singapore, and the Thailand together made this settlement trade channel, three of them, so again to decrease the costs. And okay, we have the regulation in place, we have the, let's say, infrastructure in place, and the third part, the probably one of the most important parts, is to talk with the investors, yes, to come here. And we can create somehow the database. By the way, yesterday we agreed with 7 countries. The Turkish Green Council had the first meeting yesterday, and we agreed to create the common database for the projects, the green projects. So we can do the same for the capital markets as well. And when the investor comes here, he could understand that if I come to this market, it's not a small market, it's the big market. So I'm going to access to all markets as well, of course, without destroying the national systems. I mentioned the rating agency. It's quite, to be honest, complicated to talk with them, to negotiate with them, to come to open the agency in Azerbaijan, because they see the market is small. But if we create the whole, if this rating agency can give the access to whole market, it means the more business for them, and due to the decreasing information costs, probably the yields will be lower and the investor confidence will be higher. So this creating these common databases or some negotiations together, I think I can attract the regional investors as well, the global investors as well. So it's like we should not see each other as competitors. We are kind of the blocks which together can create something bigger, the regional ecosystem. If we see this like this, probably we can achieve this vision. Maybe not in the 1 year, 2 year, but at least in the midterm we can achieve this kind. The chain is fragile, which is like fragile part here. If we are all together, should be on the same page, on the same level of resilience and prosperity, probably the achievement can be faster. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shaheen. Thank you. I think it was very comprehensive. I do like your ideas. I think we need to work on them. We just need to implement. As you said, not 1 or 2 years, but we are on the right track, hopefully. Thank you. Nico, we move to you now. And I think last 5 to 10 years, I guess, most countries, not just in the region, but elsewhere, were either considering or already doing own financial centers. I think AFC is hosting delegations from most countries in the world, I guess, last 3-4 years. So some of them, they created their own ones, like Vietnam. I think it was announced very recent. Some in Africa, like Kigali and Nairobi, etc. But going back sort of to the region, what's your attitude? What do you think? Are we doing something wrong? So others want to have to do their own financial centers, or is just a room for big and more cooperation? So what's your take on that?
Rashid, thanks for the question. And once again, let me reiterate, my gratitude to the colleagues who came here and to discuss this topic, regional cooperation. Regional cooperation is the idea that we was always here, but we now are starting to make our voices stronger. We view our regional cooperation as an attempt to have a bigger market, more liquid market, more developed market, and I think that in future our endeavors. This idea will evolve and will strengthen, and we will continue talking about it. For us, regional cooperation is not something that is not that some countries in a central position, is a regional hub, regional center or something. It's in our region, I mean, our regional cooperation should be like traditional Kazakh dastarkhan. I mean, a round table where we all sit and we all contribute to that table with our experience, with our achievements, with our products, with our I don't know, I mean, some infrastructure maybe. And of course, I mean, that table will go, that dastarkhan will grow, and we will accommodate global investors and others around it. And so we see this potential. Of course, I mean, it is not an easy thing to do. I mean, there are successful examples of this kind of regional countries, but there are quite a few failed ones. I mean, I wouldn't talk about that, but it is not easy one. So, I mean, as my colleague from Azerbaijan mentioned, I mean, this is really a cooperation game. It's not a competition game. It's truly a cooperation game. And if when we see other countries building financial centers, so that's of course nice, because I mean their contribution to that table will be more, and I mean we can have more coordination. I think we should help each other in building their centers to have a more vibrant trading platform here. And I mean, also like talking about the region, I think that we can, we all know that this is a big region. I mean, this is a region of 100 million people. During last 4 or 5 years, I think that GDP growth of all these countries is quite impressive. The region is growing. Also, the financial sector everywhere is going. And again, I think in post-COVID period, we all can notice that even financial education among the society is going. More and more people are trying to do their, retail investment activities, maybe around the world, in crypto, in other countries. So I mean, this kind of cohort of new investors are emerging, and this is kind of very good prerequisites for the development looking in the future. And I think that this regional cooperation, the regional marketplace should strengthen, should support these developments as that I mentioned. As I mentioned in the previous question, I mean, AFSA is growing, but still, there are some limitations that are pressing. So, I mean, we think that we see regional cooperation as an instrument, to solve it. And of course, I mean, we were talking about many different topics during different sessions, and of course, I mean, the cooperation can go in different ways, not only to bringing a market participant, but jointly developing new regulations, jointly, I mean, bringing new products, AI solutions, subtech, and so on. So this kind of can be a regional part of regional thinking, and so that's how we are looking at it.
Thank you, Nika. Thank you. We have 6.5 minutes left, so I think I'm happy to open the floor for any questions we might have from the audience. I do hope we have a microphones, yeah? So any questions? No? Everyone knows everything? Okay, good. So I have a question. I don't know everything. Blitz, for all the 4 speakers. Can you name each for like minute or maybe minute and a half one major challenge which you think if we eliminate that, if we deal with that somehow, fantasy, right? It will be much better cooperation, it will flourish, it will be far more profitable, it will be easier to do business, it will be, I mean, financial markets, etc. So I think if you think of but one challenge, please. Sorry for tough question. We can start with Nico. He's a colleague, so you have time.
So thank you. I think that when you are thinking about regional cooperation, I mean the merged or united regional market, I think home bias is a classical problem which is happening in many countries. Shaheen mentioned, the example of European Union, where they have this initiative of common market, and even there is, despite the fact that their regulation are so much harmonized and so on and so forth, they still have this challenge. But I have some ground for optimism as well, because if you look at the region, I see that there are a lot of different investors going into, without capital market, going into other countries. Georgians going to Armenia, to Uzbekistan, Kazakhs going to Georgia, Azerbaijani coming to Georgia. So these kind of movements are still here. So I think that home bias problem can be somehow solved because of this historical, I don't know, something.
Thank you, Nico. Maybe other views, other ideas, please. No pressure, but.
Okay. If we take out these financial goods, in other goods, we see lots of different products in our local markets. Yeah, Kazakh products in Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan products in Kazakh, in Georgia. In Azerbaijan, you can find Georgian wine in every market as well. So there are still looks like the barrier to entry is low in these fields, but in finance, it's a bit tough. So I would give analogy in our financial sector, like we are mega regulator, like regulating the payment companies or digital assets, and capital markets, investment companies, funds, etc., insurance companies, and banks. And even to collaborate each other, these 4 sectors, is quite tough for us. Why? Because development phase is different. So when you want to harmonize or to collaborate, you need at least to be maybe not on the same page, but in the previous page. If you have like huge differences between sectors, it's not easy to somehow to collaborate them, to harmonize them. I think it can be the challenge for us as well. So when let's say, I'm just inventing, if let's say Azerbaijan's banking sector is quite like low digitalized, but the Georgia is high digitalized, you cannot expect something right now in one day. So that's why this transfer of know-how or at least some workshops together, etc., is quite important. Not only in the regulator level. On regulator level, we have coordination with. I was 2 months ago in Uzbekistan Central Bank, 4 months ago in Georgia Central Bank. In regulator level, we have, but in the probably in private sector level, we need to increase this and to be at least near the same page.
Thank you very much. Arif John or Ekaterina, up to you, please. Yeah, Arif John probably first and then the lady, yeah? Thank you, sorry.
The National Agency of Perspective Projects is the regulatory body of the capital market within the last 3 years. So since the very beginning of September of 2023, we've started our work. First of all, we've studied why the Uzbekistani market is not developed at the level we wanted to see before. And the first issue we identified is the legislative framework that's been outdated and quite a lot of limitations we've seen before in legislation. That is why, first of all, we've decided to cover elaboration of principles which will give the new impetus for the capital market development. Not so far ago, we adopted the 2 laws on joint stock communities. And with the help of these laws, we started to apply financial tools which been not allowed to have in capital market before in our country. The second point is the lack of digitalization in capital market. Parallelly, we've been in need to establish the digital transformation and also the base work.
Over the last almost 10 years now, so you can just do a shortcut. It could save you a lot of money and time. So Ekaterine, please, thank you.
A lot of valid challenges were provided by the colleagues. I will be more philosophical than. Please. It's complementarity rather than competition. I mean, of course, healthy competition is good, but we should kind of, cooperation itself means that we all use our comparative advantages to bring our role to the table. So this is, we should compete in a healthy manner.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think that was great answer. Thank you. Just 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes left. Sorry, 30 seconds left. I did ask you, I urge you to start going and seeing other countries. Not just country where you work, where you're from, etc., but go and do business elsewhere. Have a look, talk to people, and that's, I think, the key to success in cooperation. Nika, thank you very much for coming to Kazakhstan and working here. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope we'll continue this dialogue over the years.